There is a screen.
Did you do it? Well, I can't hear.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
We are bringing you a very special episode of the Mismatch Podcast because we're doing kind of like a midweek cast. And we are broadcasting live before a studio audience of all of our friends and family members. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's not like a button. That's like real people.
I don't even know what to say to you. This is so awkward.
That's good. We're off to a great start.
I didn't understand what you were saying when you said that's not a button, but you meant the applause.
Yeah, it's
button.
not the real.
I
like,
do
that's
understand.
like real live
It took me a
applause.
moment. Those are real people here.
Yes, I am covering you up here with the microphone. Anyway, so we have been wanting to do kind of like a cast from the camper, and then we are in the middle of the great Geauga County Fair, the 201st Geauga County Fair. We have a very special guest. Sitting to my right is Sutton Pikor.
You could call me the Fair King, or you could call me the biggest fan of the Mismatch podcast.
He is, and that's why he's on the podcast.
I think that's
he's
pretty
like
cool.
one of our biggest fans, and he happens to be the king of the fair. So congratulations. You were coronated last night.
So did you know that I did not know that there was a king and queen of the fair?
It's not a very important.
No, but I would. So I did not know that half of these things existed. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't know because I have no headphones.
Here, I'm going to give you the headphones now because this is going to be a problem the whole time. We got to keep Danna happy here.
That's much better.
Yeah, she feels.
It was a tough election. I was the only person to run.
Poor Sutton.
Don't you feel like
Nobody
you're left
ran
out of the
against
conversation
them.
we're having right
I'm
now?
good. I'm totally in the middle. So Sutton was the only person to run, but even if you did run, if we were the only one, and you would have won because
Wait, you
if there
ran
was
unopposed?
competition. Yes.
I did run unopposed, yeah.
But you would have won if there was competition because you're highly qualified. Tell us about the process. Like, how do you become the Fair King? Because it's not like they just said, you're the king. You're it.
I planned it very methodically. They announced one day that I needed to sign up if I wanted to do it, and I turned it in that day. And the night before.
You did the night before?
The night
So
before.
what would have happened if you didn't turn that in there? Just
There would have been no
There
king.
would be no Fair
Yeah.
King.
That would have been sad.
Is that normal to run unopposed? Or
No, this is the first time it's ever happened. Usually there's like 4 or 5 candidates.
This is a
other
big
than
deal to be
myself.
the
I
Fair
literally
King.
did not even know this
Here's what I think
existed.
happened. I think they all heard that a Pikor was running, and they're like, whoa, nobody wants to lose.
Yeah, it was fear.
Yeah.
It wasn't laziness, it was fear.
Your parents probably paid off the kids to not
They
run,
did.
huh?
They did.
Way
It
to
was a lot
boost
of
his
fun.
confidence.
It was my-
No, it's county fair. When I say county fair, there's a lot of drama, Danna.
I'm telling you, like,
There's a lot
this is
of
a whole
competition.
world that I did not understand. I just had this conversation with Bill. I did not understand that this entire world existed. So Bill and I were just watching the auction, and because you left me,
Well, I was feeding animals.
my husband left me. And
Not the first time.
won't be the last.
Done that a long time ago.
She said should have done it a long time ago. But we were watching, and I said that, like, in all of the years, like as a kid going to the fair or bringing my kids to the fair when they were little, you go for food and you go for the rides and like go and see the animals. But like I never knew that like this is what you did with the animals. Like I did not understand that this was this other part of the fair. Like until I knew you.
So Sutton, tell us, what do you take in 4-H? Tell us the name of your 4-H club.
Yeah.
Tell us how many years you've been 4-H.
I
And then tell us one fun fact about you. And if you don't tell the fun fact I want to tell, I'll tell it for you.
My name is Sutton Pikor. I am in the Geauga Beef and Swine 4-H Club. I've been taking pigs for about a decade now. I've taken sheep. My sister, who is sitting in our live studio audience,
Kendall,
is
we
also
love
a
Kendall.
pig
She's a
showman.
Patterson Fruit Farm employee, and so is Sutton. He got a little busy this season, but
That's how I paid off the fair court. With my Patterson salary.
You make big money there.
I don't think anyone's told Kendall that she's actually not going to get paid anymore because we were the successful bidder on her.
Right, you have to work that
Chickens.
off now.
So now you have to work it out.
I told her already.
Dang it. Go ahead, finish. We interrupted you.
Oh, very good.
Talk loud, Sutton, so we can hear. I'm a little worried about the.
Yeah,
I think it's good.
Move
Okay.
up a little closer.
Yeah.
That's better.
I take pigs and chickens to the Geauga County Fair. I used to take lambs, but they would drag me around because I was a little kid with a really big head. So I just
You had
didn't
a
have
big
the balance.
head?
Yeah, I didn't have the balance for it. So I had to shift gears a couple years in, and now I'm just taking pigs.
You're in the swine barn. So what's your one fun fact?
On my 4-H bio, I said my fun fact was I really like Texas lemonade, which we unfortunately don't have with us in the studio.
We were gonna get the Texas lemonade.
What
Which,
is
first
it?
of all,
I think you need to go near it.
It's really good.
Also.
okay, so first of all, last night at the coronation, almost every single person said, like, talked about this
Also, I
Texas
never knew what a
lemonade.
coronation was, like, other than in a Disney movie. Like, I'm not even joking.
It's actually called the coronation.
Yeah, I know. I
So
realize
this
it's a real
Texas
thing.
lemonade,
I'm just
what
saying.
is it?
Well, it used to be a $2.50 really good lemonade, and now
Yeah.
it's like $6.
$6.
It's pretty good, but I would not say it's worth it. We're gonna try some on the podcast.
We were gonna try like a lot of fair foods, but listen, there's this like banging, thumping concert going on, and it was so loud that we weren't gonna be able to do the same podcast.
Yeah,
You can hear it a little bit.
I have a business proposal to make gluten-free fair food because this
Yes.
is the worst experience if you are gluten-free. I just ate. Oh, this is another podcast conversation that Campbell and I would like to have. What do you call a Greek sandwich?
A gyro.
What do you call it?
A euro.
Do you guys all call it a gyro? I
Call it a gyro.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what you call it.
And she was like appalled at me. Like literally, I was like, "Tom wants a gyro. Let's go get one." And she was like, "Oh, what?"
It's a gyro. Even like the Greeks rule their R.
And
Gyro,
so, anyways,
gyro,
I
gyro.
ate
They
the
like
meat out with my fingers.
did you have a lot of meat in yours?
I asked for a double meat.
Because they could have gone a little heavier on the meat, I will say. But they actually shaved it off. Like, it was the real deal. So
I
it
did
was
not get
delicious.
that. But I'm just saying that I think they should have gluten-free options at the fair because it's crappy that they don't.
Sutton's laughing about this.
No, I'm not.
We all actually wanted to hear about the reaction
All right.
you had to all the gluten on the next podcast.
Well, they were like, "How much gluten
You're
is
not-
too much?
yeah.
Like, could you just try
A funnel
some
cake?
for the podcast?" And I was like, "No, like I'll get real sick." Like,
Well, so one of my favorite things here, because I didn't grow up in Northeast Ohio, is Corbos. So, and I'd never had Corbos before.
we could take you to like the real.
I would
Corbos.
like to go to the real Corbos, but they have these really good giant meatballs. And then they give you those, what are those things they serve it with? The little
Noodles?
Italian noodles.
Cavatelli.
Cavatelli. How do you say? I say cavatelli. Do you say
Okay, so an American person would say cavatelli,
cavatelli?
but if you grew
A
up in
Jewish
my husband,
Italian
if
would
you
say
grew up
what?
in my husband's family, you would say cavatelli
Cavatelli.
with a D,
Cavatelli.
nothing
Wow.
with a T.
Well, I was going to say my fun fact about Sutton. I have lots of interesting facts about him, but you're a triplet.
I am a triplet.
So how did your brothers not want to run for Fair King?
I
Because
don't
they're
think-
very involved in the fair too.
I would say they're more involved than I am, but I guess we didn't want to run against each other. And they probably would have lost too.
They would have lost to you, probably. But yeah, you're a triplet, and I think that's a really kind of interesting fact because I don't know any other triplets.
Are they all as humble as you?
He's the better looking one, he says. They're actually also they're all cute. They have very cute parents. So, and I guess
I met your mom. That's all I've met before.
didn't you meet Joe?
I don't think so.
They're all nice looking. Your dad looked all like
This is awkward. Anyone else feel like this is awkward?
why? He looks. I've never seen your dad like he looked so nice for the coronation. Like your mom always looks cute, but your dad's always like me in the
He didn't
sheep
show up
barn.
until I think he came in and both of them watched it through. He got a photo and both of them were out of there.
He had his hair all done. Your mom looked super cute.
So what? Okay, so this is gonna like, again, this is I'm naive to the fair world. So like, once you become Fair King, is that something that looks really great, like on a maybe college resume, or like what is that?
That's the main reason I did it.
Yeah.
Is for
Like in all seriousness, like does that look good?
yeah, that was
Yeah.
the main reason I did it.
Okay.
You also get like there's a bunch of little stuff like free milkshakes, and I like getting my photo taken, all that kind of stuff. So it worked
There's
out.
that humbleness coming out again.
You might be on the like front page of the Maple Leaf or something. I'm sure they put the king and queen on the Maple Leaf or some newspaper.
I know I took photos for the Cleveland Gazette.
Oh, that's a big one.
Is it?
I think so. It says Cleveland. Cleveland's a big city.
I don't think it's a big
There's
newspaper.
Some dude with
I feel like I need
an evil-looking goatee walking around taking photos of people.
Oh,
He
interesting.
stopped Teddy and I and told us we looked great and he wanted to take photos of us.
You sure you worked for a newspaper?
Yeah, we were both a little concerned, but we saw him later. In the
You
night, so we
ask
might
him
have
for
followed
royalties
us.
to his OnlyFans page.
Listen, I know what an OnlyFans page is now.
I know, I can't believe you didn't.
I didn't.
Every time I ask for something, Tom tells me he's gonna put my feet on OnlyFans and make money. And that's how we're gonna pay
He's
for
gonna
it.
pay for you
I
somehow,
know.
Danna.
I'm
I don't know
very
what to tell you.
expensive.
Okay, so let's talk about your duties at the fair. What are you gonna do at the fair? Do you go to shows? What do you do?
Most of the time, it's taking photos with the Grand and Reserve projects. Like today, with the small animal sales were going on, like rabbits, chickens, ducks. And all
So
that.
Sutton had to be in all the pictures with all the champions.
So you edited, like all day you edited that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And,
You also got a scholarship. You get a little bit of scholarship.
yeah, I think it was $500. It was this.
Did
guy.
you open the envelope?
I did not. Yeah,
So
no.
I'm like, Sutton, I'm so excited when they announced that he got a scholarship. I'm like, so, like, not to be nosy, but like, how much did you get? And he's like, I don't even know. I didn't even open it.
They told me beforehand it would be like $400 or something like that.
And that's
It was-
nice.
That's something.
That's
There
very
was this
helpful.
guy in a kilt. He came
Oh,
and gave
this
it
is
to
so
me,
funny.
and a black blazer and a chain that looked like car ornaments tied around.
It
his
was like
neck.
so goth. It was very medieval.
It was very.
He was a
medieval, yeah.
Mason. The Masons gave the scholarship. But we were all sitting down here. What's so funny in the studio audience? Anyways, did Kendall, we already left.
We bored
We
her.
bored her. Anyways, the guy bends over to give the scholarship, and we're all down here, and he's up here, and we're like, whoa! And we're like, if he would have bent over a little more, we would have known if they actually wear underwear under their kilts.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it was a little
I've
frightening.
been there for like 10 years. Long time.
Oh my
Got
gosh.
scholarships and stuff.
It says our microcard has limited space going. Okay, so I want to give a little plug for the Ohio 4-H program. So obviously this fair is existing because of the junior and senior fairs here at the great Geauga County Fair, but it's also a lot of 4-H members who are in a lot of different clubs. Sutton is in a different club, we're in a different club. But one of my favorite things, we actually got to know the Pikor family. We actually knew Kendall first because she's a real funny kid, and she and Campbell kind of were, during COVID, we were at this like poultry clinic we had to go to, and they were kind of becoming friends. They were pretending that they had the bird flu so that they could leave the clinic. It was really
You guys actually
eye-opening.
do that?
They were kind of making bird sounds so that they wanted to leave. And so that's our introduction to the Pikor family. Then we find out they have 3 more kids, and they've all just been really fun to get to know. So they were kind of like the first people that we met in the sheep barn since we were new to the sheep barn, Danna. So they were very welcoming to us, unlike you sometimes.
I'm fine.
You're very quiet in this podcast.
This is not like my world.
What would you like to know? You have 2
I asked
people
questions.
here. What
I
else do
asked-
you want to know?
I don't.
Why do the sheep
What
wear
kind of-
blankets in the barn? Do you know why the sheep wear blankets?
No.
You
Why?
really don't?
I have no idea.
Sutton, tell her why.
I'm probably the wrong person. to ask
He
that.
doesn't know
I'm
either,
100%
so this
accurate
is great.
answer to this question.
You can
Sutton,
take a
Zach
guess,
has a question.
Sutton.
Sutton, you need to talk a little bit louder.
I need to talk a little bit. I can hear myself terrifically.
This
on
is
the-
loud sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
This
you
could
gotta
be
talk
loud
loud.
sometimes. Your volume could be
Anyways,
up in
the
here.
sheep wear blankets. So if you come to the fair and you wonder why the sheep are wearing blankets, it's because one, to keep the flies off of them because they've been shorn, and it also is really there.
I feel
to,
like I need to wear a blanket.
It's
half the
really there because
time.
everybody wants to cover up their sheep because nobody wants anybody to know what their sheep look like before they go to the show.
I think we have a question. In the
I'm just
studio
kidding.
audience.
That's really what a lot of people think. It's to keep the sheep clean. So they've been washed. You want to protect the sheep and the wool. But they also want to cover up their animals so no one else can see it. Like that's another
But like, you
sneaky
don't
thing.
know what a sheep looks like.
Well, they're
Not a
all
surprise.
different. Do you know how many different shapes and sizes of market lambs there are? There are a lot. Those legs
I'm not
look a lot
calling on you. Put
different.
your hand down.
Okay, we have a question from the studio audience. Yes, sir. What would you like, Parker?
Where's the scepter at?
Oh, where's the scepter? That's a good
I get a
question.
little, instead of a tiara, unfortunately, I get a scepter with my name on it. But it's very tacky and very old, so I think I might have lost it. It could be,
He's
it
not
could
even-
be in the land
Is
barn.
it like? is
He's
it
24 hours in and he lost his scepter and
So
all
is
his
this
magical
something
powers.
that gets passed like year to year?
It's been passed down
Yeah,
for like
and
50
he lost
years.
it.
Yeah.
And it has a little plate and it has all the different kings. And Jack even said today that someday he wants to
He
be
did
Fair
tell me
King.
that today. It was announced.
But
I
let's
think it
talk
was.
Jack
about
Patterson in 2 years. wants
let's
to
talk
be
about
Fair
Jack
King.
and Sutton because they kind of have similar haircuts. Jack, come over here.
I was
please.
actually thinking the same thing.
Come over here. Like this is not this is really funny.
Where do I go?
You gotta-
They're
you
trying
gotta-
to figure out what's going on.
You gotta come over here. Who was checking this
He's
out?
little on this lady
Oh,
over
that's
there.
it. Okay, so here's Jack and here's Sutton. Do the side view, gentlemen. Side view. Okay. I don't know if you can tell on the YouTube video, but they literally have the same haircuts. It's quite funny.
It is very similar.
Okay, Jack, you can now get off Sutton's lap.
I had to show her. That was the only way.
So, what is, if you had to encourage people to come to the Geauga County Fair, because the fair runs through Monday night at 8 p.m., what would you want them to see when they come to the fair? Because we hope all of our listeners are going to take a trip out to Barton, Ohio.
To go see the gear demonstrations tomorrow.
What are the gear demonstrations?
It's science and robotics. You're very into, you're in the
Engineering
robotics
and
team. And Sam is in 4-H, and he's in the gear club.
Mm-hmm.
So they study, tell them what they're going to do.
So he's doing, he did his robot this year. He did an Edison robot, and he created a golf thing to when you putt your golf ball. Am I saying this right? When you putt the golf ball, it returns it back. It drives it back.
So you
for
putt to the robot, and the robot is
The
programmed
robot drives
to bring it back
the
to you
robot
wherever
is
you
coded
are.
to bring it back to you.
It doesn't bring it back to you.
You have to make it to the robot. You do have to
You
put
gotta
it
get
to
it
the
right
robot.
within
If you
a
don't do
3.5
that,
inch.
the
It's
demonstration
not
will not work.
a robot that goes after
It will
your
not go
ball.
find it. We've not. Maybe that's next year's project. But this year,
So that's another project in 4-H. In 4-H, there's actually over 250 projects that you could take. It's not just livestock and animals. You could take a guinea
we are
pig,
not
a pocket
animal
pet.
and livestock people.
We all know that. If they're listeners, we all know that.
Just
There's
so-
cooking,
just to make sure
sewing,
you're aware.
woodworking, all those different kinds of things.
You're the chicken tender, though.
You
are
know
the
what?
chicken
Also,
tender.
I got to do this year for the fair is I got to polish apples.
Because we entered apples in the fair. Yes.
So that was exciting because
There's lots of fine arts displays and fruit and vegetable
That was
displays. And we won some awards. Your apple polishing
did
paid
win some
off.
awards. I did. Yes, it was.
Way to go, Danna.
I'm no king, but I
So
did win
Sutton
some
listens to our
awards.
podcast. Sutton, tell us your least favorite thing about our podcast when you listen. Pick us apart. Your dad kind of picked us apart. Joe, if you're listening, I appreciated his feedback. It was so good. We're wondering why you listen to the podcast.
I already
but
cornered Sutton in the middle of the chickens over
Yeah,
earlier
didn't
tonight.
What were you discussing?
Said I heard you had some words.
No, it's just,
Yeah,
I
tell
heard
us.
you had some
sometimes
feedback.
I just
This is
hear
why
a
I'm
mean-
sitting between the two of them because I'm like the buffer.
Yeah, sometimes I just hear a mean comment. You just want to leave a review.
Mhm.
It's like, what was that this episode? That's what I want to say.
He said that he did not like that I said that Kristin plans too many things and is not good with time management. However, I'm pretty sure her husband is defending me.
I'm gonna drink my sweater.
However,
water,
I
which we sell at
still
Patterson Fruit Farm.
stand by my opinion on this, considering I got called at 5:00 to, could you please bring the podcasting material to the fair?
Well, this was a fun
Because
thing.
this is how all day long I was not a fan of Patterson's. All the Patterson people I
Now,
didn't like today.
Let's discuss this. That today, you think I take it to the extreme limits. I could have entered in more things today. I could have entered in the sheep.
Oh, but she was
I'm
conscious of her time.
restrained. I was. I could have entered in the sheep costume contest,
Well.
the chicken costume contest, and I didn't. The rabbit costume contest,
I mean,
we cut the costumes out. That's
that's
a big decision.
That is called time management.
I'm good at it. That's why I said no.
You're not. This is just the first time that you actually.
No,
did something.
whatever. Sutton agrees with me. It's
Well,
fine.
I think
He's
that
our
you're-
top fan.
Listen, the bottom line is you are never relaxed. You never,
I'm relaxing
ever
right
relax.
now. I relax when I sleep, and I sleep really well.
You don't sleep very much.
I actually do. I feel like I do get good sleep.
No, you don't.
I feel like I do.
Sleep for like
Listen,
5 hours a day.
last
See?
night, 10
all your
hours a
kids are
day.
defending me in this. 5
5
hours
I
a
get
day.
5 hours of sleep.
Yeah, that's when she. Okay.
Last night, I'm pretty sure.
I think my
husband and
point has been proven by all the Patterson children and husband.
Listen, there's work to be done.
What?
They have their favorite foods.
Favorite
Favorite
fair foods. Yeah.
foods?
What's your
Favorite
favorite
fair
food? We're
foods?
gonna do that. And we gotta wrap it up really quickly.
The corn dog.
Talk about it. Let's talk about this corn dog here.
There's a bunch of new corn dogs this year. There's a hot Cheeto covered corn dog.
Tell us about this one because I think it's delightful.
Well, Campbell, Jack, and my sister were all gonna walk out of the lamb barn. That's where they were going. They said they're gonna get a Cheeto covered, spicy Cheeto covered hot dog, or not hot dog, corn dog. And they bring it back, and it's the most disgusting thing I've seen in my whole life. It's like a hot dog or a corn dog covered in like mustard and then in
Nacho cheese
nacho
dipped in.
cheese. I'm sorry.
That's a huge difference, just so we're all aware. Like mustard versus.
I think the mustard would be way better.
I
than
like
this
mustard on my corn
monstrosity.
dog.
not with hot Cheetos.
Hot Cheetos?
Yeah,
I don't
not
know.
mustard.
Okay, so
and
go
hot
ahead and
Cheetos.
finish. You gotta, what do they drizzle or do put on the
I
top
don't
of
know.
it?
It looked like
There
It's
was
like
some sauce.
a crusty, like a crushed up, crusty hot Cheeto
Did you
It's
guys
like-
eat it?
on
I
it.
didn't. Kendall
Yes,
did.
Parker, what is your favorite fair food?
Stromboli!
The stromboli. Parker's a big fan of the stromboli. I mean, you can't go wrong at a fair with like the French fries. I like mine.
I
with,
can eat the French fries.
I like mine
probably
with
should.
vinegar, salt, and ketchup.
You need cheese on the stick.
You
Fried
can't,
cheese
it's
on
fried.
a stick.
It's fried in with flour batter. There's flour in the batter.
You probably can't have that. But let's go back to the milkshakes because we did talk about the milkshakes. It's a real big favorite thing here at the. Who does the money go from the milkshake stand, Sutton?
They say it is to help the fair, like the fairgrounds, but knowing the senior fair board, it probably goes to the pocket.
Okay, so anyways,
I thought it went to the junior leaders.
I think it goes to
Doesn't
whoever.
junior leaders do
Well,
it?
and it also a portion of the proceeds goes to each club that is manning it.
Oh,
during
do
that
they?
time
They get the
period,
money
I think.
too?
Yeah. So like Gear mans it at this time, or maybe Breeders and Feeders will man it at this time, and then like during those time periods, like I think a portion of the proceeds go to each club for it as well.
laughing, Sutton.
So thank you, Geauga Fair Board. Thank you. Is what we're trying to say.
This is all satire, and this is all jokes on this podcast. If you
So
could
funny.
add a in Minecraft after everything I say, so we can avoid any legal stuff. I would really
We don't need
appreciate
any attorneys involved. But two things I want to mention. Tomorrow, Saturday, we have the apple pie auction. So everybody makes apple pies. Patterson Fruit Farm sponsors the pie contest. And that'll be tomorrow at noon. They auction off the pies. And then I do know that money goes to the auxiliary here at the fair. And they use that money for like plants and things around the fair. And then on Sunday morning, if you're a racer, what is on Sunday morning? We have the Geauga County 5K. Sutton, are you going to be there running?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, we've got him signed up
Parker,
now.
do you wanna run it with
This
me?
is where Parker and Dana became
like
friends.
so
was at the
5 years
5K.
ago or
Not-
4 years
we
ago
did not
something.
become
I
friends. Dana
I
hated
will
me
not.
after that.
All of that money from that 5K goes back to the 4-H Club. So it's a really fun event if you're a runner in town. And you guys, we've kind of run out of time and gone the longest podcast ever. Sutton, we're
So
going to let
exciting.
you have the last word today.
Huh?
What do we say at the end of our
you
podcast?
can't hear anything.
I can't hear anything.
Until
Now
next
talk.
time, friends,
Now talk.
we're
What to say it?
Wait,
mismatched.
oh, I didn't know if you guys wanted me to say it or not.
At
Yeah,
the
you have
end.
to
Yeah,
say it.
say
We're
it.
mismatched. And Sutton.
What are his socks? Are your socks mismatched?
No, I thought that would be really fun.
Are they really mismatched?
No.
Really?
Oh.
As a fair king, I can't.
Okay. Are
Oh,
we done?
royalty, it can't be mismatched.